Recording is on.
Okay, so this week's Tea Time training is about Microsoft formats. So if you can remember back in 2007, they did a major change when they added the ribbon and they also added the XML formats. So they created like a docx instead of doc formats. And then 3 years later, they made some other changes, not quite so much. But we'll talk about some of the history of the format, those two formats going forward. So if anybody has worked on this before, um, it's not based on any of the public published specifications that are out there. So basically, all the documentation about it is wrong. And so, yeah, it was very confident sounding. All of our code was very confident sounding, but it was simply based on the specifications and not on actual real world stuff. So if you have worked on it in the past, you need to remove your previous knowledge out. So what it's actually based on is not the settings of this core XML, but on um, a value called compatibility mode in settings.xml. And so, um, okay, so that was a bit of a rant. So let me just get back on track here. Up until on col.la Online 2504, we had always been saving using the 2007 filter. So when we exported as docx, we were always exporting it using the 2007. And then in 2504, we started saving as using the 2010 filter. For LibreOffice, that happened in 7.6. Excel has something similar. So again, it's not based on the core.xml file that's in there. It's actually based on the workbook.xml file and the value in there called lowest edited. And that's going to start in 2026 for both LibreOffice and col.la Online. For PowerPoint, there's no meaningful distinction yet that has been discovered. So we're still using 2007 format for both import and export on PowerPoint. Okay, so a little bit of talking about what is this compatibility mode setting. So basically, it's a voluntary setting. It's a voluntary thing by the application. It will limit the feature set for the benefit of users using the oldest version. Okay, so if you're sharing a document between a few people, and one of them is using an old Microsoft Word 2007, when they save it, they're going to save their 2007 compatibility mode into the document, and then from that point on, every version of Word is going to limit itself to the abilities that Word 2007 has. Okay, so it's not that it will change every time a new person saves it. It always uses the lowest version that has ever been used. Okay, and that's the reason why when you open a document, Microsoft Word will sometimes say that it's in compatibility mode, and that's because someone at some point has been using it as an older document. And what is the deal about it? Well, various things are going to look differently or work differently because it's limited itself to some of the older capabilities. How can you find out about this for the docx? It's not that easy. You can't really get it during runtime, like while the application is running, only during import and export. And then you can use the function get word compatibility mode. Okay, so what are the different compatibility mode values that we can have? So the default one is 12, which corresponds to what Word 2007 would create. If you're taking a doc file and saving it as docx, then it would report it as compatibility mode 11. Word 2010 is 14, and everything from 2013 onward is compatibility mode 15. So you'll see a lot of talk about compatibility mode 15. There's a lot of changes that happened in that one. Okay, so some of the history about how this worked in LibreOffice. So all along, we've just simply been round tripping whatever was in compatibility mode in the settings.xml file. Okay, so we basically didn't touch it. If it wasn't there, we didn't add it. If it was there, we just left it the way that it was. Starting in LibreOffice 7, so we started writing compatibility mode 15 if there was nothing. Okay, so if we took a native LibreOffice document and then saved it as a docx, then it would be compatibility mode 15 since 7.0. Prior to 7.0, it was just left blank, and then it's treated equivalent to Microsoft Word 2007 by Microsoft Office. Okay, then in 7.6, there was a change. Michael Stahl changed the 2010 filter name from something that was not understandable, Office Open XML text, to something that is understandable, Word 2010. And that became the UI default. Okay, and also at the same time, he changed it so that if you did use the older filter, the Word 2007 filter, then it would force the compatibility mode to be 12. Okay, so we're no longer simply round tripping with the 2007 filter. We force it down to the number that matches 2007. Okay, and that sounds really good, but at that time we were still using the specification, and so we were actually writing a bad core.xml file, and that contains metadata like who the author is, the last time it was printed, when it was created, modified, and so when it was open in Microsoft applications, they couldn't understand that anymore. So it's according to their spec, but when they can't understand their spec, and so they would silently lose all that information. And that was finally fixed in LibreOffice 25.8. And so we no longer write according to the spec, we write according to the way Microsoft is actually using it. And we're using the compatibility mode now to detect whether it's 2007 or 2010. So before LibreOffice 25.8, any document that was created by Microsoft Word, even if it was compatibility mode 15 at 2013, when we imported it, we said it was actually a 2007 file. Okay, and so ever since LibreOffice 7.6, we've been taking a Microsoft authored file, and dropping it down to compatibility mode 12. So we've been forcing it to be considered the lowest format. Okay, so what are some of the examples? What does this compatibility mode actually change? And there's a meta bug that has all of these things. So text now wraps around frames in the header. Okay, so that sounds kind of normal, but actually before 2013, you could tell the text to wrap around an image or something in a header or footer, and it wouldn't do it. It would just flow underneath. So that's a fairly big change in compatibility in 2013. Another one is that things are always considered to be layout in cell in compatibility mode 15. So even if you say layout in cell is false, it's treated as true in 2013 onward. And there's a link to a talk about that. Another one is that you never apply the top margin after a page break in compatibility mode 15. Before that, sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't. And if anybody has worked on some of these, you might recognize tab over margin is changed. Laszlo's working on Smart Justify now, so the justification works differently in 2013 onward. Column breaks are treated as page breaks now. Off-screen images are placed differently. Some of those things, a lot of layout kind of issues. The one that really triggered a lot of what we discovered about this was the table borders being inside a paragraph area. And so this is a picture of what I'm talking about. So the top one is, the top table is how LibreOffice natively deals with tables. Okay, so you can see that the table border really doesn't have any impact on the placing of the text, and it spreads out from the center of the border on either side. Before 2013, Microsoft would normally just put all of the border and the border spacing outside on the left side of the margin, and the text would just start right at the margin. And in 2013 onward, tables kind of just start at the edge of the page and then naturally move forward. So you have your border, and then your padding, your spacing, and then the text. And so we've really discovered a lot of these filter issues based on shifting tables. Okay. Let me just pause there for a second and ask if there's any questions that people have about DocX so far. Then I'm going to switch to Excel. Anybody have any burning questions that I raised so far? Okay. So now we're going to do something similar for Excel. And this has just happened in the last month or so. And so up till this point, we've always been saving as using the Excel 2007 filter. So 2010 is now going to be the default for everything, basically, the UI, for Convert to, and for Collabora Online, LibreOffice Kit. Similar to compatibility mode, this one is based on the value called lowest edited, which is found in the Excel workbook.xml file. The values are different in Excel. So 4 corresponds to 2007. 5 is 2010. 6 is used by both 2013 and 2016. And 7 is the last one that has been specified so far. Unlike compatibility mode 15, where we've used it a lot to differentiate layout and stuff like that. At this point, I don't know of any case that actually makes any difference which one you're using. But it is stored in the document itself. So compatibility mode is basically just stored as a grab bag item. But that's kind of annoying during while we're doing layout, because it's not so easy to figure out which compatibility mode we are. So for Excel, it's stored in one of the document variables that's always available while it's running. So in the SC document, there's a SC extended document options, and it's just stored in there as a standard optional value. For PowerPoint, we don't have any known use cases again for whether it is, and no way to distinguish it either. So there's nothing similar to compatibility mode or lowest edited that I've found so far. And so up to this point, no changes have been made for PowerPoint, and all of our import and export is still being done with PowerPoint 2007. Some of the frustrations, in case I haven't talked about them, I've already kind of complained about this based on the spec. So I think a lot of this was Novell was involved with Microsoft while they were creating the standard back in 2010, and so they were writing all this code based on the spec probably before it was even implemented. And so you see a lot of very confident sounding code, but it was all wrong. So that's all been removed as far as I can see. Another frustration is that not a single Microsoft authored document would pass our Office Otron validator that we use for our unit tests. So it's kind of annoying that our validator that we run is not isn't based on reality, but based on a specification that isn't being followed by Microsoft. And so, at least for this particular part, we just have told Office Otron to ignore the error that comes up related to that core.xml file. And so now they pass because we ignore the error. Another frustration is that none of these 2007 or 2010 filter bugs were discovered by customers or upstream testing. Everything is found by MSO test where we're running this against thousands of documents, and so you start to see some kind of a pattern or something just doesn't look right. And after dozens and dozens of documents, you finally I got to investigate why something seems strange here. And we found all kinds of things related to this topic with MSO test. So that's great. It's just a little frustrating that it takes so long to find these things out after we make changes. So what are the action items for people to take away from this talk? Basically, for quality assurance, you always want to be aware of what compatibility mode the document is that you're dealing with. So when you're filing it, it's probably good to document that in the bug report. And in order to change the compatibility mode, all you have to do is look in that settings.xml file and change the number, and that will. That's the only thing that's needed to change compatibility mode. And so you can see, does that affect how the bug is handled? Does it affect the layout? And developers basically is the same thing. So always test your changes against different compatibility levels to see, does Microsoft treat the file differently if you change the compatibility level. To do one of them that I just did a couple days ago was filters for the macro, like the Visual Basic filters. We didn't have any for 2010 at all. I just created them. And if there's any reason or distinction that we discover in PowerPoint 2010, that's something to do as well. Okay, so that is my talk. So we're open for questions.
Hi, Justin. Thank you so much for your talk. Let's start by just saying, does anyone want to jump in with some questions or remarks, comments? If not, I will go across my screen.
Justin, Noel speaking. We own Office Otron now, so we should be able to fix that warning that we ignore.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, if you email me a test document and you tell me what warning to ignore, I can change that code. It's Java. It's straightforward for me.
Okay. Yeah, I never looked into it before because the Office Otron was really designed to test against the spec, I guess. And so, if we're changing that to not test against the spec but against reality, then then yeah, that'd be a good thing to change. And that's, I mean, you can basically create any using a modern, Microsoft Word. Just create a blank document, save it as docx, and that one I would fully expect would fail Office of Tron.
Okay, I'll try that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Noel. Anybody else want to jump in before I go across my screen? No? Okay, so let's start. So I have Armin, Sahil, Michael Stahl, Vivek, and Pedro. Any questions, comments?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you.
No questions, thanks.
Thank you. Brilliant, thank you. So the next people that I have are Miklos, Attila, Balash, and Quaylon. Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
It would be more like a command that in case you do a save as for a document in MS Office, then they typically try to trick you into upgrading to the latest compat level. And that has some positive sense, like in these newer compat modes, actually, they do get rid of some of the very hard to explain behavior. So if you just open the document, it looks exactly the same as it used to be. But if you do a save as, then you get the more sane behavior. And it's possible that at some point we should consider doing something similar. It's nice to preserve the document compat level as is, but if you do that save as sign, that's kind of nice that you can say that I don't intentionally need this odd strange behavior here. Just give me the same newest behavior.
Yeah, that's a good point. And currently, LibreOffice and col.la have no way of saying force it to be compatibility mode 15. Yeah. What we would pretty much need to do then is create a new filter for a 2013 filter, so that we could force it to be the compatibility mode 15, at least for docx. So just a point there that I hadn't really talked about for Excel, that's different. So if there is nothing specified, if there is no lowest edited in Excel, then it's different. Then it's considered the most modern one. So that's different from docx. Docx, if there's nothing, it's considered to be 2007. For Excel, if there's nothing, it's considered to be 2019 and onward. So that's a important distinction to remember for people working on this.
Thanks, Miklos. Thanks, Justin. The next people I have are Dennis, Gorkai, Parth, Sarpa, and Stefan. Any questions, comments? No, thank you guys for putting no questions in the chat. That's great. That's very helpful. No. Brilliant. Okay, so the next people I have are Andrash, Mohit, Aaron, Parth.
No questions, thanks.
Thanks, Andrash. No questions. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Mohit. Brilliant. So at the end, does anybody else have any other comments, suggestions, want to jump in with any remarks before we finish the session for the day? Brilliant. Well, everybody, thank you for attending today's talk, and we shall see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Justin.
Bye.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks for the talk.
You're welcome.